Objections? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. At this time, I'll ask our secretary to do a roll call.
Roll call. Hyacinth McKee,
Yes?
Jamie Barney,
Yes.
Evan Bergeron.
Yes.
Melissa Haley.
Yes.
Trinity George, Laura Sunseri, yes.
And also, we have our legal counsel present, Sherry Morris, as well as our administrator, executive director, Emily D'Angelo, that's present at this time. With that being said, we are going to return back to where we left off in the agenda. At this time, may I get a motion regarding the Impaired Professionals Program report from Kathy Pullman?
Move to adopt.
Been moved by Evan to adopt. Is there a second?
Second,
Second by Bora. Any public comment pertaining to this motion?
No public comment.
Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. We're going to table that disciplinary monitoring report. Next item on the agenda is the compliance hearings. Can I get a motion pertaining to compliance hearing for Tamar Stark?
Motion to approve the request.
It's been moved by Jamie to approve the request. Is there a second?
that was.
This is for Tamar Stark.
Okay.
And then.
That's okay. Hold on one second. Y'all want to amend the motion? It wasn't seconded, so we can do that. So what we got?
Approved with a letter of education also.
Okay, and so Jamie, are you okay with,
Yes.
Bora amending that motion? Okay, so the motion has been amended to approve with the letter of education
To the supervisor.
To the backs.
to the backs. Okay,
I second that.
okay, and so, it's been moved by Jamie, seconded by Bora. Any public comment pertaining to that motion?
No public comment.
Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Now I'll entertain a motion regarding Renee Ridgely, LMSW.
I move to deny.
It's been moved by Bora to deny. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Melissa. Any public comment pertaining to the motion on the floor?
Public comment.
Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. I'll entertain a motion regarding Miss LaShonda Ellis.
Motion to approve.
It's been moved by Melissa to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jamie. Any public comment pertaining to this motion?
No
Here.
public comment.
Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. The matter between Jessica Shelton, the hearing for Jessica Shelton will be tabled to the February 2024 meeting.
5/25.
I'm sorry, February 2025. Thank y'all. February 2025 meeting. The matter at Jessica Shelton. Okay. All right, at this time, I'll entertain a motion regarding Miss Tia Cage, correspondent E1.
Approved contingent upon receipt of supporting documentation.
It's been moved by Jamie to approve this request for remote supervision, pending receipt of additional documentation. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Melissa. Any public comment pertaining to this motion? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carried. I just had a motion regarding Stephanie Machete, request for CE extension and distance learning for reinstatement.
So approve the request pending receipt of an application fee, passing the open book exam, completion of 20 continuing education units, 3 of which must be in ethics. The request is also approved for all of them to be completed virtually. And this is also with the condition that an additional 20 hours of continuing education units must be completed before the end of the collection period. That must also include 3 more hours of ethics and may also be virtual. And the required hours that are due the current collection period are also still due.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Evan. Any public comment pertaining to this motion on the floor? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay. All right. I entertain a motion regarding complaint 202539.
Move to dismiss with the letter of education concerning record keeping.
It's been moved by Evan to dismiss with a letter of education concerning record keeping. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Melissa. Any public comment pertaining to this motion? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Entertain a motion regarding 202540.
Move to dismiss with a letter of education regarding documentation.
It's been moved by Melissa to dismiss with a letter of education regarding documentation. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Laura. Is there public comment pertaining to this motion?
No public comment.
Objections or abstentions to the motion? Hearing none, motion carries. I entertain a motion regarding 202553.
Motion to dismiss.
It's been moved by Evan to dismiss. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Laura. Public comment pertaining to this motion.
No public comment.
Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carried. I entertain a motion regarding 202560.
Make a motion to dismiss with a letter of education.
It's been moved by Jamie to dismiss with a letter of education. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Melissa. Any public comment pertaining to this motion? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. I entertain a motion regarding 202561.
Make a motion to dismiss with a letter of education.
It's been moved by Jamie to dismiss with a letter of education. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Melissa. Any public comment?
No public comment.
Any objections or abstentions to the motion? Hearing none, motion carries. I entertain a motion regarding 202562.
Move to dismiss.
It's been moved by Evan to dismiss. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bora. Any public comment pertaining to this motion?
No public comment.
Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. I entertain a motion regarding 202566.
Motion to dismiss with a letter of education.
It's been moved by Jamie to dismiss with a letter of education. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there public comment pertaining to this motion?
No public comment.
Okay, any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. I entertain a motion regarding the pre-eligibility determination requests.
Make a motion to approve the request with the letter of eligibility.
It's been moved by Jamie to approve this request with a letter of eligibility. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Melissa. Any public comment pertaining to this motion?
No public comment.
Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Item H, applications will be tabled to the end of the board meeting. Let's see, let's go right on down. For no application, we can table that too. We can do all applications together. All right, so now we're gonna go to our board staff matters, because I don't think our council is here yet to present our consent agreement order, so we still have some time on that. So let's move right on to our board staff matters, report on office workflow.
Okay, since the December meeting, things have been a little quieter than it normally is, which has been a nice little break. Requests for early testing at the master's level, we've received 2. Requests for early testing at the clinical level, we've received 3. We haven't issued any LMSWs for that were early testers. We've issued 2 LCSWs to early testers. LMSWs issued 17, LCSWs issued 14, BACs issued 5, retake applications 53, supervision contracts 42, other supervision approvals 12, license verifications 41, in-person CE waivers for out of state 5, excuse me. In-person CE waivers for medical reasons 4. We've sent out 7 open book invites, and we've had 3 pass so far and 0 with a failing score. We have received 13 complaints between November 23rd and January 6th. 4, we requested a written response. 1, we sent out for investigation. 2 are under consideration. 3 were not accepted because the individual is not a social worker, and 3 were not accepted because there was no violation of the Practice Act or rules identified. In other activities, we did get our fall 2024 newsletter published.
Good job.
That completes my report.
Any questions for Emily regarding the workflow report? Okay. All right, hearing none. Do we accept the report? I don't think we get a motion on that. No, we okay. We did that. Okay. All right. All right. Next item on the agenda is an update on the promulgation of the rules. I'm gonna turn it over to Sherry so she can share with us the status.
Okay, so, we did, the board authorized joining, Department of Justice program, and so Emily has completed that process. And we did, get a fiscal, note on the rules that were authorized to be promulgated just yesterday. We got it yesterday?
Yes.
Yesterday, and today at noon was the deadline to turn that in with the notice of intent, and that has been turned in at noon today, so that will be published on the 20th. And then that will go through the process. The process is a little bit different from the Occupational Licensing Review Commission, so we have to do a submission to the Department of Justice, but we don't have to do that until after any public comments are received.
I'm sorry, say the last part again, we have to do.
We have to turn in some information to the Department of Justice for them to review the rules.
Okay.
It's not, the Occupational Licensing Review Commission, we had to go to a hearing on a specific date. This is done in-house at the Attorney General's office, and they have forms that we have to fill in to give them certain information. But that, we don't do it before the promulgation, we do it after the public comment period. So they're in process,
Okay.
finally.
Okay, that's good news.
After a lot of delays.
Any questions for Sherry regarding the update on promulgation of rules?
So that was just the set of rules that went to the Department of Justice?
It will go to the Department of Justice, but it's all of the remainder of the rules that have been turned over for promulgation. The last one was telesupervision. It was the notice of intent, what was left that didn't get published last time, plus telesupervision.
And then the rules that went forward, oh, no, never mind. Okay, never mind.
So it's all the rules in the Bible.
Yeah, because I remember we were going 2 routes at first, but then we put them all back together. So it's
We did.
about the other set, but.
Well, we did send the initial, when we separated, we sent portion for publication. And I guess maybe this happened since the last meeting, the governor's office canceled the publication because they believed that some of the rules that we sent for publication without review needed review. So we had an option to submit those to the Occupational Licensing Review commission in December. They met in December, but we could have got it through the process, and if there were any questions, that was their last meeting, so you couldn't fix anything.
Right.
So rather than having part of the rules not really reviewed by the new program that we're under, they're all together. They're back together now. Plus, we added telesupervision, which was done after that other set.
Yeah.
So it's
Thank you
been a
for the
very
reminder.
confusing
Yeah.
process, because we've had to change gears a couple of times. But they will be published on the 20th, and so they can be linked to the website, right, at that point.
I was gonna ask you if we could go ahead and put it up like before it published in the register.
Sure. They're submitted.
I mean, all right.
They were submitted today. I might wait till Monday in case they have any formatting changes.
I personally do not have authorization to where that needs to go on the website. I don't have authorization to do it, so I'll have to send it to the third party and they have to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, we just might want to get register a chance to check.
And I
the
think it's
formatting.
important that if when we go that route, we need to put on there proposed so that people understand that has not been approved. I don't want people to think, oh, these are the new rules. They're not the new rules, they're proposed right now, right? And so if we do post it, make sure we have proposed on it. That's my thought.
So we scheduled the public hearing. The deadline to submit comments is February 10th, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if anybody wants to submit any written comments, they can either mail them to the office or send them to Emily's email address. And then then there's a public hearing set for February 25th at the board office at 1 p.m. in case there is anybody that wants to appear and give comments.
Say the last date again, because I want to make a comment about.
February 25th, 2025.
Right. So in terms of sending your public comments in writing to an email address, if you are comfortable with it coming to your email address, state that now. Please put in the subject line rules, proposed rules. Because if you just send her an email and there's no subject line, then she won't know if that's what you're trying to talk about. So can you please put in your subject line to Emily's email address, if you have any public comment, put public comment, proposed rules, something like that, so we can know in the subject line, that's what that email is about.
And when do we anticipate the rules to be? I know you have to go through a third party to get it posted to the website. You have any idea after it's reviewed by the registrar for formatting? When people can anticipate they're posted?
By the end of next week.
I don't know how many days you would recommend letting the register.
Get
Get back to
I
us.
think if there's some formatting problem or something, we'll know that on Monday, I would think.
So we would have,
Maybe by
to
the
Jamie's
end of-
point, the expectation is to have the proposed rules posted on the website of viewing by the end of next week. I see her point. She's trying to,
Give people 30 days.
we gotta put some parameters around this. The expectation is not for those proposed rules to be posted at the end of the board meeting. It's just not realistic.
Right.
So we're notifying the public that we'll have it posted. The expectation, the intent too as well is to have it posted on the website by the end of next week.
And do we send out a constant contact?
I will, yes.
And she's gonna send out a constant contact will be sent out. She'll definitely do that.
At the very latest, they're posted on the register's website on the 20th. So
Okay.
if you miss
Oh,
the
already
posting or
posted.
whatever, they'll be on the register's website.
And they
on the
will
20th.
be on the register's website by the 20th of
Yes.
January. Register's website.
So after we get them posted and we have the public hearing, then if we don't have any proposed changes, what would be the next step?
We have to do a submission to the Department of Justice, also has to go to the legislative oversight committees. And we have to report to them, any comments that we had, how we adjust them, or if there were no comments, like our last set, we didn't have any comments. So if there's no comments to address, then we would issue the report that when the 30-day deadline passes. and then forward it, then we have to wait a certain amount of time before they can be finally published.
Okay, thank you.
So only thing I would ask is that when the rules are posted, that it is a disclaimer saying that the current rules still apply. So even though people that they should be clear that this, until it's approved, they cannot, they have to operate by the current rules.
Okay.
Good idea.
Any other comments about, or any questions for Sherry on the status of the promulgation of rules? Okay, all right, hearing none. All right, so now we're gonna move right on to the financial statements for the period ending of September 30th, 2024. Emily, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
So you do have the financial statements scanned into Certamy. What you don't have that, you have that you've had in the past is the comparisons from, last year to this year for the month that we are in.
And so I'm gonna ask that board review these statements. And if there are any questions for the statements to, you could state your questions, but we're gonna allow Emily a little more time to find answers to your questions and then report that out at the next board meeting. Okay? Thank you.
So, Rob, though, has, given me some information, about, because our computer consultant line is higher because we're developing the new program. And he says that if the computer consultant is being paid to develop software for the board, we may need to consider if those costs should be capitalized, but we wouldn't do that until the end of the year.
And if they are capitalized, that means that they can be moved?
Where?
I mean, in terms of how they're impacting the budget.
And I think it's their proprietary software. It's really just being configured for us. We're not gonna own it.
Okay,
So that might make a difference.
okay.
What?
It's not really being developed. It's developed software that's being
It's
configured.
being tailored.
For this
our needs,
agency.
Right, it's not. A
It's
new
not a
design for us.
development
Yeah, it's not a
contract.
development.
I do
It's a
believe
service contract.
it's almost like electronic health records. You're using electronic health record and you are developing it to your entity. They have been used as capital costs before, so I would definitely, I would look into that.
So this is a proprietary software that they own. They own all the codes
They're
and.
just setting
yeah,
it
They're
up
tailoring it for us.
and migrating our data to it. So I believe the contract is classified as a service contract. So that might make a difference in
Okay,
his decision.
I'll clarify that then for him.
I would like to be clear on what the definition is of capital. What is a capital expense? Because
Yeah, especially for this.
It's usually an acquisition that has a life, a longer term life than the fiscal year.
so why wouldn't it qualify?
Because it's really a service. I don't know. I mean, the accountant's gonna have to make the call, but I'm just saying he probably needs that information. That it was not an acquisition contract, it was a service contract. We will not own the software or any coding to the software. We would just have access to use the licenses for software owned by Certamy. Certamy.
Covalent.
Covalent.
Mhm.
They will maintain all, we won't have, it's not development, it's just migrating the data and setting up their program to work the way we need to be able to access the data. It's different, but from an accounting standpoint, I don't know if it's treated differently, but I think that's information he needs.
And then also, how does it impact the budget? If it is a capital cost, then what impact does it have? That's what my question would be, but overall, according to budget, even though the computer consultant is high, it's still lower. We're still lower than budget by $20,000. So it looks like, it's been managed.
With September, it looks like with a lot of stuff that I've looked at so far, we're lower than budget, so good job, because I know we're trying to cut some corners.
Yeah.
My question though is like, so we have month ending September and October, and I know we've discussed previously, how some things may tie up the information being provided. When should we expect, like how far behind the actual month end should we expect to review? Like I would also like to, in a perfect world, I would like to be reviewing November. It's a little early in January, so maybe not December yet, but be up to November,
It
so.
kind of seems like, it's 2 months from the period ending. Like I got September, like the day before the last board meeting.
Mhm.
And I could not get it added. I think I had even already posted the agenda.
Yeah.
So, being that we meet every 5 weeks, you're just seeing it now. But I have not gotten November yet, but I know that it's just about finished because of an email I got today.
Okay,
And they already have all of our December, but like all my part that I have to do has been sent to them. I try to get it within the first 2 weeks of the following month.
you get yours, you get your part complete.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what.
I think that's great. I think that's a
And then
good.
she sends it to me probably within the week, so just so that as an FYI.
Yeah.
And then the board gets it probably a week or two after that.
Oh, so you mean the report from?
From the CPA, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the CPA sends it to Emily, Emily sends it to me just as an FYI. And then it comes on our,
And so you get it like 2 months after the month
It
end?
seems like that's
Okay.
the norm.
We like that?
We don't. We have some concerns about.
Maybe if you gave them the board meeting dates, and maybe they could try to tailor it more.
Yeah.
Getting it more.
Couple days before the board
Okay.
We don't, we'll talk about it.
Is the accountant is higher, it's 300% higher than what is budgeted. Is there a reason for that?
Well, I know
You looking at
the,
October?
I looked at October because you could see September and October.
That is so smart.
So if you could just ask them why it's so high.
Colleagues, any other
I'm
questions?
wondering if I budgeted at the higher rate or at the rate we have been paying. Let me see. But I'll look into it.
Any other questions? And again, Emma's gonna report it out at the February meeting, answers to your questions. Any other ones for the financial? statements, for the periods ended in September 30th, 2024. And I guess we're already reviewing the ones for October 31st too as well. All right, folks, there's no.
I'll report to y'all that, our Department of Justice contract for OLRP, I thought that happened after the December meeting. I wasn't 100% sure. So when we were first quoted for our contract, it was at $3.89 a licensee.
Mhm.
And they reduced it to $3
Oh.
per licensee. So they had said that they would look at the cost, if once more individual boards were,
Added, huh?
added.
Right.
So do you know what difference that made and what we thought in?
I didn't,
Okay.
How many
Yeah.
licensees do we have?
over 9,000.
That's about a $9,000 savings. I mean, it's 89 cents, that's almost $1. Yeah, yeah.
I think instead of like 17,000, we would have owed before July 1st, because we paid half up front. It's 9,000
Instead of what again?
17.
instead of 17.
That's a
That's
significant
$1.
difference.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I'm just giving you the full,
Yeah.
it's 9,000 something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you, that's good news.
Yeah, so a little bit of good news.
That's $9,000 worth of good news.
Yeah, because originally, that was not part of our budget originally,
Mhm.
the
Right.
budget that was
Right,
approved.
oh, right.
Yeah, so that's one of the things, Rob, I brought up to Rob, the CPA of, whether or not we may need to do like a budget amendment, because we're probably gonna exceed what we budgeted.
Well, would that mean we would be moving money from another place?
Um, well, I mean, that's up to y'all. I mean,
I mean, we would have to, oh, well, no, we wouldn't have to, we would just.
It's a project, I guess if the question would be how much more you think you're gonna go over, because the budget is just a projection. It doesn't have to be dead on, you're gonna go over in some places, but unless it's significant, you know?
so right now, our budget, and this has been the last few years, our expenditures exceed what our revenue is. And so, we had talked to him, Rob about that, about, keeping us informed of any flags, because we count on the fact that we have our, that investment account.
Mhm.
Well, so the previous budgets we're comparing to, weren't the licensure fees lower?
Mhm.
Yes.
No, the budget is at the current licensure.
That's what she
fee.
means, though. I think
That's
that's
what I-
what,
that's what I
that's
mean.
what Melissa mean.
Yeah.
That-
Oh, I
that
thought you
when we
meant
get-
lower than this budget.
Well,
No, yeah, that's what I meant, though.
Yes, it will help if we can get that rule promulgated with the increase in the renewal fee.
'Cause I think the CPA said we would anticipate pretty much running out of the extra funds in like 5 or 6 years or so. Okay.
Might have been 6 years when he said it, it's fine.
With the, you said they have one other question. It was about 16 something that wasn't budgeted. What was it? This continuing education under operating. And it's budgeted, but we didn't actually spend it. What is that? 1666?
That's, wait. That is like if we do, like when we had that lady come last January, that was applied to the continuing education budget.
Okay,
Um,
okay,
So
okay, okay. Okay, thank you.
and like any continuing education that, like we travel for is, under the travel section.
Okay. And so the continuing education that the board provides to, what we paid a consultant is under the consultant, under the professional services?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Any other questions, for Emily? Okay.
So we should be at, okay, a little, okay, never mind. No, I'm good.
Right. All right, hearing no other questions, we are going to move on to the next item of the agenda.
We could see if, maybe Jim Parkin, what's the next item on the agenda? Sorry.
We're going into correspondences, but we can, check with staff to see if our prosecuting attorney has arrived, otherwise,
She probably would have texted me, so we can
We're
just
good.
move
Okay.
on to correspondence.
yeah, otherwise we're gonna just keep going on to correspondence. So now we're in correspondence. 7A, Tulane School of Social Work application for CE approval.
Is that two?
Hmm?
Is that correspondence two?
That's one, correspondence one.
Very top.
Any questions about this application?
What do you require with the letters? Let's see. From who, I mean, I'm sorry. Yes.
Can be people who work for them.
USWE, School of Social Work. Social work service provider, social work organization, or accredited school of social work. Okay. So this first letter
It's personal.
was not a social work.
The next one ain't either.
So it says it could be a social work service provider, so I guess that's what I'm
Right,
trying
yeah,
to see if this is a.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be the professional social work organization. It's CSWE, accredited school of social work, or a social work service provider.
And so so this is from the refuge? I don't know what that is.
The first one?
Yeah, the first one. Is that where she?
I'm not familiar with it, but it looks like the agency is called the Refuge.
You're talking about how long the first two Don't have social work credentials.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they represent social service type agencies or organizations.
Are they accredited? Do they have to be accredited by CSW?
No, not the provider, not the community service provider, just the school, if it comes from the school.
Looks like Refuge 18-2 is a Christian counseling agency. They do counseling services, which is, social work, falls within the scope of social work. So I don't recall this specifically coming up, but I don't have a problem with it. With that, do we consider?
An LMFT, I mean, they're licensed therapists.
Right. I just wanted to be clear because it says they have to provide 3 letters from this combination, which includes a social work organization, a social work service provider, or an accredited school of social work. And so I'm sure they do great work,
So wait, social work service provider?
That's what it
So It
says.
says social work.
It says social work service provider.
Good.
And so,
Um,
therapy falls within the scope of social work. So that's what I just want to be
Right.
clear
And
about.
not everybody at these clinics have to have a certain type of license. They'll have LMFTs and LCSWs and LPCs.
They have to be an LMHP. That's the requirement, it's an LMHP.
It just said social work service provider. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they can hire LCSWs and probably LMSWs with the supervision of LCSW to provide services. I don't have a concern about this application.
Okay, is there a motion regarding the application, folks?
I feel like in the past, we rejected them because they weren't from social work, like,
I can't recall.
yeah, I really think we did.
I thought it was, the ones we rejected, I thought were social work or whoever the reference came from that was out of state, but not connected. And there was one letter from New York, but they're part of the same organization in Louisiana. So that's why I was okay with it.
Quickly looking at their website, they have LMFTs and LPCs or PLPCs on staff. I don't see any social workers, so I don't know.
They could have social workers, if they had a vacancy, they could hire a social worker.
Yeah, because it falls within that scope. So I guess the question is, do we consider it a social work service provider if they don't technically have a social worker, but they're doing things within the scope of social work?
I think it's okay personally, because they could hire social workers and they probably have at some point, but when they have staff turnover, they can hire a licensed clinician with different backgrounds.
What y'all think about it? What y'all-
You know, the way you said it, it really does make it, it does lend itself to a question. Because it's either you a social worker or you're not.
It looks like the second letter, the person is in New York.
But he's part of the Board of Louisiana Community for Emotionally Focused Therapy group. He collaborates with the candidate on that board group. So this is how I look at it is I would want social workers to be able to get CEUs through a program that might be majority psychologists or LPCs, but they could hire social workers at some point. And if, a social worker were to be a part of their training and they were approved because they were gonna sponsor an LCSW to present, I would want, those
Yeah.
organizations to approve
I know what
us.
you're saying, but I just want to make sure we're being consistent with, our practice. And so the other thing I'm noticing is all three letters are identifying the same affiliation. So if we go the Louisiana Community for Emotionally Focused Therapy. So before, we've wanted different organizations. And so if we go by their work affiliations, that they're identifying the second letter, that person's from New York.
Okay, they don't work for the same agency, but their commonality is this
Yes.
group. So to me, they know this person
Right.
and they could vouch for them. To me, it's,
But before, we haven't approved out-of-state references.
because they weren't practicing here. But if this person
That's
is
not
on,
true. To Jamie's point, we have not approved, we have done that. They've had people that were practicing here, but they were out of state reference and it was rejected. I remember that.
Mhm.
We've had that
they were
happen.
practicing here? I thought
Yes,
they were
but the
not.
letter was not a Louisiana provider, or the letter didn't come from a Louisiana
Mhm. They were
practitioner.
doing something in Louisiana. I can't
Yeah.
remember,
I
but
thought they were not here, not doing anything here.
No, we've had it where, but, so, I know we're still in discussion, and, I had a comment I didn't wanna persuade, the motion, but I had a really good comment, I just been keeping my mouth.
No, but if you have a,
I don't wanna
Something.
persuade the motion, no, but I have a really, really good comment about this. Huh? Just say it, okay, so I have issue with the application.
mhm.
and
And I have made that concern known to the Continuing Education Committee. My issue with the application is the fact that we say social work provider.
Mhm.
Because where we are now in this world, there are providers that are social service providers, social science providers, allied professionals. And having that application, the specifically say social work provider, it limits.
Mhm.
It limits the restriction. So I did ask for the Continuing Education Committee to take a look at this application again.
Mhm.
They did a quick through, say, oh, we think it's okay. I don't think it's okay.
Mhm.
And then I also think the instructions can be a little bit more clearer. It just seems like stuff is kind of jumbled. Don't y'all think that?
I agree.
So, they're charged with reviewing this application. Well, Trinity, he's absent, but he said they were going to do that. But for the sake of this application, we have approved pending too. So we've rejected, we've also done approved with another, like we've had different
Mhm.
options as well. So what would be the pleasure of the board at
I'm
this
okay with
time?
that, cause I don't necessarily take issue with any entity, and I'm sure they do good work. But it's just trying to make sure we're applying the same standard fairly. Cause we've gotten other applications that we have denied for multiple reasons that I see in this one. But it's all related to letters, again, from people I'm sure doing really good work. I just wanna make sure we're being fair. So I'm okay with, and if there's no more discussion, I don't mind putting forth the motion to approve pending receipt of 3 letters of recommendation that meet the criteria listed on the application
a second.
from, and making sure that they're within the state of Louisiana.
But this is a question though. I don't mean to, well, I gotta shut up.
Sounds
I'm
like a
checking.
denial. I mean,
No,
if
it was
you're gonna
one thing.
prove it and she got to do everything all over again, then
Right.
she needs to redo it.
I can't jump in that, but that's a good point. So I gotta let y'all ride. with it.
Denial
I gotta
doesn't
stay
stop
out
her
of it.
from resubmitting with the correct information, cause
Right.
pretty much we saying you don't have the correct information, so.
I just was trying to be consistent.
Yeah, and then that would be a denial, and if we're gonna deny it and make her resubmit everything, she needs to sign this application, and, because it looks like a digital,
Right.
not a real certified digital signature, but it
Mhm.
looks like either a stamp or
Yeah, I didn't know
somebody
that.
did the cursive font.
Hmm.
So I think she should actually sign it.
Yes. Okay.
So I'm gonna restate what we have on the floor, and then we have to take a vote on the motion, and then y'all. So there's a motion on the floor to approve the application with the resubmittal of all 3 of the recommendation letters. Moved by Jamie, seconded by Bora. Any public comment pertaining to that motion? Okay, now, here's the vote. Are there any objections or abstentions to that motion?
Object.
There's an objection on the floor to this motion. So now we have to take a vote for the motion. So I'll call the names out, Laura.
Wait.
So the vote was gonna be that, we approve the motion that's on the floor. So if you say yes, you are in favor of the motion that's on the floor.
Okay,
What's
Okay.
restate the motion for me?
The motion was to approve the application pending receipt of all three of the recommendation letters. It was moved by Jamie, seconded by Bora, no public comment, objected by Melissa. Now we have to take the vote.
Mhm.
Bora, start saying names.
Hyacinth McKee.
No, I go last.
Oh, sorry.
That's
Jamie
okay.
Barney,
no,
Evan Bergeron,
No,
Melissa Haley,
No.
Trinity George, not here. Boris and Sari, no.
So the motion did not approve is dead. So now, do we have another motion that we want to entertain at this time?
Motion to deny.
So it's been moved by Melissa to deny this application. Is there a second?
second.
Second by Evan. Is there public comment? And is there any objections or abstentions to the motion? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay. All right, so now we have our prosecuting attorney, Jim Raines has entered. Thank you, Jim, you came right on time. All right, so now we're going to go back up to item 4A to hear the presentation of consent and agreement orders regarding the matter of 202324 Terry Lane.
Yep, this one, we had a complaint about him on August 4, 22. The complaint alleged that he abruptly terminated services with a client and shared personal information about himself. We went back and forth with Mr. Lane about the case. He admitted that he failed to properly terminate services with the client. This was after, he's out in West Louisiana, this was after the hurricane. He blamed a lot of it on Ida situation, but he didn't have good documentation of his termination. So that was an issue. So it resulted, as far as the proposed discipline, and a reprimand. He's got to do the open book exam within 3 months. He's got to complete a total of 6 continuing education hours in ethics with a focus on record keeping. He's paying a fine of $750. He is paying costs of $967.50 within 12 months. And then the rest of the language is just kind of standard language in the consent agreement.
Any questions for Jim on the matter of Terry Lane? Okay. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion regarding the consent agreement order for Terry Lane.
Motion to accept.
Been moved by Melissa to accept. Is there a second? Second by Evan. Any public comment pertaining to the motion?
No public comment.
Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. In the matter of 2024-80, Stephen Mock.
Okay, we received a complaint about Mr. Mock, and it was alleged that he told a client on his caseload that he wanted, let me back up a little bit. So Mr. Mock works with DCFS adoption unit in Covington. And he has a history of being a foster parent and also having adopted children. So that gives you a little bit of background about him. He had a client on his caseload that was an older student in high school, had not been adopted, but was in that service branch of his. He told her that he wanted to adopt her and eventually take her on a family trip. He did take her to a football game with his family and to the Washington Parish Fair and Rodeo. And he had a daughter that was close to her age, and she ended up spending the night at his house on one occasion. It was also alleged that he took her to social engagements without the consent of the child's legal custodian, which at that time was DCFS. So the complaint actually came from us, a supervisor. He acknowledged an impermissible personal relationship with the client. While he believed it to be in her best interest, obviously it was a rules violation. So we have agreed to a probation for a period of 1 year. During that time, he's going to have supervision 1 time a month for the 12-month period with for the backs. He's going to pay a fine of $500. With a cost of $1,162.50 payable within 1 year, and the $500 payable within 1 year. He's going to do a total of 6 hours of continuing ed in the hours of the area of boundaries and relationships with clients. And the rest of it is standard language.
And when did this occur? You say 2020?
No, I don't have a date.
Oh.
Let me see if I put it in the notes. I didn't write it down, but this case is, it's a 2024 case, so probably
Okay.
I would say 23 or 24. Okay.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion regarding the matter between Stephen Monk.
Motion to accept.
Been moved by Jamie to accept. Is there a second?
Second.
Any public comment pertaining to this motion? Objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carried. Next is the matter of Latrika Smith, file number 2025-3.
She made a special request that this be handled in, or this be presented to you all in executive session. Up to you on how you want to handle that request, but she did make that request.
Okay, and so we are going to have an executive session again later today. We can hear it then, but
Is that appropriate?
can we do
Doesn't this
that?
become public record, though? I mean,
The agreement will, the consent agreement will be public record.
It was my understanding that once it was presented,
Mhm.
if the board members had questions, she asked that you go into executive session.
So not the original presentation.
That's how,
I didn't speak to her directly, so, okay.
I sent you I sent you her request to make sure that you didn't have any issues with it.
Yeah, I don't remember that specification in the request, but I do need to look at it.
Maybe what I can do is read just straight off of the consent agreement. And then if you all have questions, then we can decide whether or not to do executive session.
Okay, so if we have questions, you just say questions, don't ask the question. Okay.
I got a question already.
Okay, what are we doing?
I'm ready.
Okay, you want me to go ahead?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so we received a complaint. It was alleged that she failed to make a mandatory report of adult abuse, neglect, or exploitation as required by statute. And had practiced social work while impaired and had breached client confidentiality. She alleged that, or disclosed that the complainant and RSW had falsified patient documentation that had never previously been reported to her, by her to the board, that there was some kind of falsified documentation by the RSW. The board notified her of additional potential rule violation there related to that. We get down to what she admitted. She failed to make a mandatory report of adult abuse and failed to report to the board that a registered social worker had falsified patient documentation. There was no finding of the other allegations, which is why it's not included as far as part of the admissions. As far as the proposed discipline, there was a proposed reprimand, a fine of $750, cost of $1,230, and continuing ed of 6 hours in the area of mandatory reporting. Open book exam within 3 months. And then the rest of it is standard language.
Okay, so I have a question that is more about our process.
Probably the same question I had.
Okay, I don't know if it's necessarily specific to, okay.
Yeah.
So if we get a complaint with multiple allegations, I know if we want to completely dismiss a board member reviews. If we want to dismiss a portion of allegation, does a board member have to agree to that as well? No, okay,
There would just be, and there was no evidence of it found in a case if it's not in there. And so if we don't find evidence of something, we would only present on certain issues.
To clarify, and Emily can correct me if I'm wrong, the ones that are going for board review, there's been found no violation
okay,
on review, but before it's dismissed, just on the investigation team, a board member reviews it to make sure the board member agrees that there are no violations.
so, okay,
But
so,
if there's even one thing that looks like a violation, it's gonna go through the investigation and
okay.
through the other process.
So this went through investigations, and in the beginning, there are some allegations, but they're not findings for those, and no board member has reviewed the difference. Okay, that's what I wanted to.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're just looking at where the team believes there's no violation, and that before it's closed, it's reviewed by a board member, and the board member has to confirm that they agree with closure, or they can send it back.
And typically what we'll do is we'll give you all of the allegations that were presented in the beginning part. And then when you see the first numbered section, like it says where they've admitted to the following, that typically relates to what the findings were from the
Okay.
investigation.
Okay,
So that
So-
helps.
For example, when there's something at the top that says they practice while impaired,
Yeah.
but then in the numbering, it doesn't address the impairment, then that means the investigation showed.
Found no, we can say it this way, that did not find evidence of it.
Of it, okay.
Because typically if you found, if there's evidence of impairment, then you're going the route of impaired professional type stuff and, yeah. But you guys know we do that all the time, so.
I got a question.
Mhm.
It needs to be done in the executive.
Do we need to have, we can keep going with questions?
Oh, do you have a specific to that?
Yes.
No, we gotta do that.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
but my question is this actually something that falls within the purview of executive session that we would be allowed to discuss in executive session?
We are discussing the competence of a person to hold a license, so.
So it qualifies, okay.
So we are gonna be going back into executive session. So what we can do, Jim, on this matter, we can table discussion for the matter of Latrika Smith in executive session because we're gonna be doing that today anyway. And we have to table, we have to have discussion before we can give a motion on whether you proceed or not. Because it sounds like the board still want to discuss this matter.
Madam Chair,
Uh-huh.
since we have to go back in executive for applications, can we just do all that together?
Yep, we are. Yep. we
I
gonna do
mean,
it all.
now, or you wanna do it all later? You see what I'm-
Well, we were gonna try to get
Gonna
through
finish
the
correspondence,
correspondence.
okay.
We were gonna try to finish correspondence.
Okay.
We were gonna try it. And then go into executive session.
You could reverse it, do the executive session, then
I
come
would-
out.
So what's the pleasure of the board? I'm thinking
You'll have
because
to
we,
come back out to address the executive session things.
right. So what's the pleasure of the board? Are you all wanting us to go into executive session now because this matter has been brought
Mhm.
to our attention, and then come back out? Y'all wanna do that? Okay, we'll do that. All right, so Jim, that'll give us a couple of minutes. And then we'll come back out. So give us a little bit more of your time here. Not in the room, but like, don't leave, because we may have a decision for you. What do y'all wanna do? Are we tabling a decision to next
You
meeting?
can't stay in executive session when we discuss that?
Oh,
Because we have questions for him.
y'all have.
Oh, he can't stay in?
stay in it.
So we have to go in executive session and discuss it, but we can't.
She didn't wait did she waive her opportunity to be here? That's what I'm a little bit unclear.
She waives. But a waiver of, well, she waives.
Acceptance.
Excuse me.
The licensee would have to waive
Okay,
her
Waives.
attendance if the issues are gonna be discussed.
okay.
Well, she asked that it be.
Yeah, that is so-
She asked that it be discussed in an executive session.
So this is
So in an
the,
executive session, you wouldn't have a member of the prosecutorial team
Right, he wouldn't be in it.
So if we deny this,
or.
They were gonna be able to answer the questions.
no, what I'm just saying, if we deny this and then give her an opportunity to come.
Okay, so this is being presented as a consent agreement, which is an alternative to having a hearing and a formal complaint. There's been no formal complaint filed. This is pre-formal complaint.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that is still an option to, require a hearing of the matter.
You said a formal complaint hasn't been filed.
Right, some people settle in the process before an administrative complaint is
Right, yeah.
filed, and then some of them don't have any, don't really negotiate a settlement with the board until after they get the complaint.
Oh, okay. She's actually on and she's raising her hand, so
Okay, well, maybe
let's see what she has to say.
Yeah, let's see
Okay,
what she
so,
says.
all right, so good. So, all right, so that means all right, y'all, let's take a breath and pause. Okay, we're trying to get some stuff here. At this time, I can allow her to speak and provide whether or not she is going to waive her consent to allow us to move forward with discussing her matter in executive session with the prosecuting attorney present. Is that correct?
And she can waive whatever right she has.
Okay,
but
and
I
so
think
that's what
we
I'm
need
saying.
Her to tell us what it is she's.
Okay,
waiving.
so for clarity, I am going to allow
Ms.
Ms. Smith, she's on to speak. Of course, Ms. Smith, you can't go over 2 minutes. Because I'm going to admit this as a public comment pertaining to your matter. So Ms. Smith, Ms. Latrika Smith, you have the floor.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here. I originally requested for it to be discussed in executive session due to the allegations in the beginning of the consent agreement. But since it has already been brought to the open board, I am okay with you all finishing it in an open discussion. I do agree to the consent agreement. I signed it and everything. I just wanted it to be discussed privately, but I'm okay with you all proceeding.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Smith.
You're welcome.
So she's,
Ask her if she wants questions about the case to be.
Ms. Smith, are you still on the call?
I'm still here.
So this is the thing, the board has some questions that we would like to ask regarding this matter. You requested for us to discuss this matter in executive session. The challenge is that a consent agreement in order is public record. So
Right.
it's one of those things where, but we need to be able to ask questions of the prosecuting attorney about the matter. So what you're gonna say, Sherry? Legally?
she's now waived her request for executive session, but if she's available and there are questions, she might want to have the opportunity to comment if she doesn't believe
But this is
that-
the problem that I have
It's not
with
a
it. This is
hearing.
not a hearing.
Correct.
Right? And I cannot allow, I have to allow equity. I can't allow her to jump in and participate and receive a hearing when other people have not been given that privilege and opportunity. So this cannot turn into a hearing. You know what I mean?
Jim just wanted to
That's a
clarify.
hearing.
Yeah.
Jim just wanted to clarify that she was okay with us discussing more specific things related to the things in the beginning.
In executive session. Or open
Right,
session.
oh, in open session.
Open session.
Well, yeah, but I don't know, she realizes that details are gonna be asked of it.
Yeah.
So the ask is, are you okay, Ms. Stark, with us, I'm sorry, Ms. Smith, asking questions pertaining to your matter publicly?
The violations that I agreed to, yes. I'm not okay with the allegations that were not found to be true being discussed openly.
So, if we go down that Pandora's box, we have to be very mindful of what we are saying as it relates to particulars of this matter.
Is she okay with us asking questions in executive session with the prosecuting attorney?
And her-
Right, that was my first question.
Yes, I am.
So I want you to know that you will not be privileged to being part of executive session. We will not be including you in executive session or asking you any questions in executive session because it is not a hearing.
Yes, ma'am, I'm okay with that.
Okay, I just want to state that for the record, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I understand.
All right, Ms. Smith. Well, what we'll do is we will go forward with more dialogue and ask our prosecuting attorney any questions in executive session pertaining to the consent agreement and order. Once we come out, we have not gone into executive session. Once we come out, we will render a decision regarding this matter. So at this time, my fellow board colleagues are saying that it's advised that we go into executive session, move forward with this matter, and then come back out to the public. With that being said, if we're looking at the clock, what time frame you think that we can come back out of executive session? I think that's too quick. We have other things that we need to cover.
We're doing
two
other, not
applications.
just this, okay?
So do we want to realistically say 3:15, 3:30, something like that?
3:30.
Mhm.
3:30.
We have
So 3 items, yeah.
She said it's extensive.
This one's gonna take a little time. The other matters in executive session is gonna take a little time.
Okay.
So if we wanna say 3:15, or 3:30, just wanna see what y'all saying.
3:30.
3:30,
If we
does a
can-
constant contact have to go out?
Okay, so 3:30, we can arrange for a constant contact to go out, at the request of the board. I'm seeing staff kind of like,
No, since we did it earlier, do it again, I don't.
so we'll just make note that we'll be back, because of this matter has been brought to our attention, we want to address this immediately and so we can render a good decision. All right, so we're gonna come back at 3:30. At this time, I entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Moved by Jamie, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Evan. Public comment pertaining to the motion on the floor to go into executive session. Any objections, any public comment pertaining to the motion on the floor to go into executive session? Any objections or abstentions?
Need a roll call vote for the
I'll
record.
do that, yeah. So now, there is none, so now let's do a roll call.
Hyacinth McKee.
Yes.
Jamie Barney.
Yes.
Evan Bergeron.
Yes.
Melissa Haley.
Yes.
Trinity George. Boris and Sarah, yes.
All right, so now we're officially going into executive session. We will return at 3:30. At this time, I'm going to ask for a motion to return back into public viewing.
So move.
Moved by Melissa, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Evan. Any public comment pertaining to this motion? Any objections or abstentions to this motion? Hearing none, motion carried. Now I'll take a roll call.
Hyacinth McKee.
Yes?
Jamie Barney.
Yeah.
Evan Bergeron.
Yes.
Melissa Haley.
Yes.
Trinity George. Boris and Sarah, yes.
And our legal counsel, Sherry Morris, is here with us, as well as Emily D'Angelo, our administrator, executive director. At this time, we're going to move right on to the agenda of item 3B. At this time, I'll entertain a motion regarding the disciplinary monitoring report.
Release all the one person on the report from the consent agreement.
It's been moved by Evan to release the individual on the disciplinary monitoring report. The person fulfill all of their requirements. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bora. Is there public comment?
Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. The next item on the agenda, I will entertain a motion regarding the matter of file 2025-3, Latrika Smith, LMSW.
Motion to approve, subject to redaction.
It's been moved by Jamie to approve, subject to the redaction. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Evan. Any public comment pertaining to the motion? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a motion regarding the application of Shambrika Harris, BSW, applying for the RSW.
Motion to approve.
Been moved by Jamie to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bora. Any public comment pertaining to this motion?
No.
Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. I entertain a motion regarding James Conan, MSW, applying for the CSW LMSW.
Move to approve.
It's been moved by Bora to approve,
Second.
second by Jamie. Any public comment? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. I'll entertain a motion regarding Carmen McKinley applying for the CSW LMSW.
Move to approve.
Been moved by Melissa to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Evan. Any public comment pertaining to the motion? Objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. I entertain a motion regarding Linda Turner, MSW, applying for the CSW LMSW.
Move to approve.
It's been moved by Melissa to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bora. Is there any public comment pertaining to the motion?
No.
Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. I just said a motion regarding Samuel Gonzalez, LMSW, applying for the LCSW.
Motion to approve.
It's been approved by Jamie. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bora. Any public comment pertaining to the motion? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. I entertain a motion regarding, wait. Jennifer Thomas,
Move to approve.
LMSW, applying for the LCSW. It's been moved by Melissa to approve.
Second.
Second by, who seconded? Jamie. Any public comment? Any objections or abstentions to the motion? Hearing none, motion carries. Entertain a motion regarding Monique Brown, BSW, applying for RSW.
Motion to approve.
It's been moved by Jamie to approve. I hear a second from Melissa. Is there any public comment to this motion? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. I entertain a motion regarding Monica Fields, MSW, applying for LCSW via endorsement.
Motion to approve.
It's been approved, moved by Jamie to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bora. Any public comment pertaining to the motion? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Entertain a motion regarding LaShondra McCurdy, MSW, applying for CSW LMSW.
Motion to approve.
It's been moved by Jamie to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Melissa. Any public comment pertaining to the motion? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. I entertain a motion regarding Celeste Piccolo, BSW, applying for the RSW.
Motion to approve.
It's been moved by Jamie to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bora. Any public comment pertaining to this motion? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. I entertain a motion regarding Kelly Loomis, BSW, applying for the RSW.
Motion to approve.
It's been moved by Jamie to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bora. Public comment to this motion on the floor? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. I entertain a motion regarding Alec Hummel, MSW applying for CSW LMSW.
Move to approve.
It's been moved by Bora to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jamie. Is there public comment pertaining to this motion? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. I entertain a motion regarding Rachel Fernelius applying for the LCSW via endorsement from California and Colorado under the Welcome Home Act.
Motion to approve.
It's been moved by Jamie to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bora. Any public comment pertaining to this motion? Any objection or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. I entertain a motion regarding Myra McCray, RSW, applying for the LMSW via endorsement Illinois under the Welcome Home Act.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there a second?
Mhm.
Is there any objections to the motion?
Object.
I object.
We can call
Object.
public comments first.
Oh, public comment?
No public comment.
Is there any objections to the motion?
Object.
Checked.
I object as well.
Chair object.
Now we can't.
Okay.
Should we
So I
vote?
broke it.
Roll call.
So we can do a roll call?
So we're voting.
So we'll vote, the yes is to approve the motion on the floor.
Which is to.
Which is to approve the person's
Application.
application. So if you say yes, that means you're in agreement with the motion that's on the floor to approve.
Hyacinth McKee.
No, you
I
stole
say
everything,
you.
that's all right, and I'll,
Sorry. Jamie Barney.
Yes.
Evan Bergeron.
Yes.
Melissa Haley.
No.
Trinity George. Boris and Terry, no. Hyacinth McKee.
no,
So that's 2 yeses and 3 nos, 1 absent. So the motion dies.
so the motion dies. Is there another motion on the floor?
I'd like to make a motion to approve for a CSW.
Is there a second?
A second, that would be denying the LMSW and approving for CSW by endorsement,
It's
correct?
been moved by Melissa to deny the request, issue the CSW.
Wait a minute. It's already been denied.
No, it's being denied.
Oh,
Deny the
okay.
request, deny the
That's
request for the LMSW, issue the CSW via endorsement.
Yes.
Second by Bora.
Point of order, do we have to also give a compliance hearing? What should that be included in the motion?
Okay, so at this time, Melissa, are you okay for your motion to amend denial with the compliance hearing, issuing the CSW via
I
endorsement?
will accept.
Okay. All right, that's her amendment. Okay. Bora seconded that. All right. So any public comment pertaining to the motion? I'm trying to figure out where we are.
No public comment.
Any objections or abstentions to that motion?
I object.
Okay, it's been objected by, let the record reflect, Jamie objected. Any other objections or abstentions?
Yeah, but.
Do a roll call.
We're gonna vote, yeah,
We're gonna
so
do a
yeah,
roll call, okay, all right. So at this time, right now, you are going to vote if you are in favor of the motion that's on the floor. Yes is you're in favor of the motion that's on the floor. No is that you're not in favor of the motion that's on the floor. Okay, roll call, Laura.
Jamie Barney,
No.
Evan Bergeron,
No.
Melissa Haley.
Yes.
Trinity George, Boris and Terry, yes. Hyacinth McKee.
Yes.
It's 3 yeses and 2 nos, 1 absent.
All right, so the motion carries. All right, next item on the agenda is to ask for a motion to approve all applications, RSW applications that were not mentioned under special considerations.
So move.
Moved by Evan to
Second.
approve, second by Melissa. Any public comment? No. Any objections or extensions? Hearing none, motion carries. I entertain a motion regarding all applications for CSW, LMSW, not mentioned under special considerations.
Motion to approve.
It's been moved by Melissa to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Evan. Is there public comment pertaining to the motion? Any objections or abstentions to the motion? Hearing none, motion carries. Entertain a motion regarding all applications for LCSW that were not mentioned or discussed under special consideration.
Motion to approve.
It's been moved by Jamie to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Melissa. Any public comment? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. All right. So next item on the agenda is a correspondence from,
Sorry. Aye.
Is your
application
renewal?
Aye. Agenda item.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Which one? I'm sorry?
One renewal application.
Oh, thank y'all. Okay. Oh, yeah. So entertain a motion regarding that one renewal application that we had.
Do we state the name or?
I don't think we state the name because it was an executive session. Correct? What do we do?
Doesn't matter.
We could state the person's name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion to approve Aura Kelly's application?
It's been moved by Jamie to approve Ora Kelly's application. Is there a second?
Second, the late fee and waive the late fee.
Yes, I'm sorry, and waive the late fees. Late fee.
Okay,
Second?
all right. Is there any public comment? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, all right, so let's go to correspondence. Request, correspondence, Angel Areda, LCSW had a question relative to scope of practice. Okay, let's see, y'all.
So page 8.
Is correspondence 2 or 1, y'all?
This is correspondence 1,
Page 8 of 41.
Mhm.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so I cannot give any advice regarding this question. One, it's outside of my scope. I don't practice this type of social work. And two, does she have a colleague, a supervisor, someone in that hospital that she can consult and find out what she can and can't do in terms of toxicology lab results? This is not something that I'm familiar with. I don't know if the board has any, want to weigh in on this?
This is the 1 year when we presented at NASW conference, when the board presented the ethics presentation, this was a question from the audience. And, we gave the answer from the board, and then I gave insight on how I, as medical social worker, have handled this. And there was outrage. So I will definitely stick to my role here and say they need to consult with an attorney and their policies and whoever they review supervision with. Do you remember that, Emily?
I do. Was I there?
I don't think you were there.
I don't remember.
Oh, you would have remembered if you were there.
It was pretty
It was
significant.
intense, yes. Yelling and
Quite
screaming.
memorable.
Oh,
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
literally yelling and screaming.
Oh, I don't think I was there, that
You
year.
weren't there.
Okay. All right, and so it sounds like the board is saying that this was something that the individual would need to consult legal counsel with, consult their employer with to get more information. And also we usually tell people to
liability insurance carrier. We say those kinds of things too, to make sure. So, we
And I would
cannot.
point to our rule about, do we have a rule
I
about
think
that?
she has it in her, in our rule.
That's, no, that's
she's
the
got
children's code she quoted. That's
Are
not,
you talking about scope of practice, or what are you talking about?
do we have a rule about, reporting?
Well, mandated reporting, we do.
Yeah, we have a mandate.
We have a mandated report, yeah.
Yeah,
I would
but
reference her
this
to
thing
that.
about the
The
toxicology,
toxicology, I can't see a social worker reporting based on that. They would be basing it on.
yeah, I don't have
So
any,
I
I can't weigh in on this for her. She would need to seek legal counsel or talk to her employer about what, I can't go on the record to offer
I know this has
information
been
for
a
her today.
big debate in medical social work since I've been doing it.
Do the attorneys at those types of organizations give advice on that for their organization?
I've never had an attorney weigh in. I've had discussions with management, that have come up about the responsibility and your responsibility as a clinician, and I think, you know, what we want to convey here is everyone should follow their own rules.
Their agency.
Their agency's
Wherever
rules.
they work.
Mhm, mhm.
Cause I would think that they would consult.
And
with
laws for
legal-
their
right,
license,
right. They
like
would-
whatever your license's laws say, follow that.
I mean, she's outlining her concerns, but again, it sounds very HR,
Mhm.
legal. This is not my job description kind of stuff, and that's what she's going to have to articulate if she decides to.
Their hospital
that
legal
route.
should be weighed in on it too.
Mhm.
Yes, cause the interpreting lab results is a little different,
That's
but
different, probably.
yeah.
Okay, all right, so that's the recommendation.
Exactly where it is.
Okay, all right, so next item on the agenda is Jamelia Afelui. I apologize for that. LMSW requesting for remote supervision due to hardship.
Oh, yeah, this was 269.8 miles, I think is warranted.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, I mean, Lafayette to Leesville, right? It was
Yeah.
Leesville and Lafayette, yeah, that,
Yes.
I have no problem proving that.
Do we have a motion regarding this request?
So approve.
Been moved by Melissa to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Evan. Any public comment pertaining to this motion? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a motion from Claire Garrett requesting for remote supervision. Wait, okay, hold on.
So 6 miles?
6.4 miles?
20 to 40 minutes.
Haven't we denied people that were like 10 miles?
Yeah.
I mean, that's metro area.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'd love to approve it, but we've denied so many people that were in similar situations.
Okay, do we have a motion regarding this, request? Or are we still in discussion?
Oh, at the appropriate time, I'll move to deny.
I'm just trying to see if there's something else in here that would.
One second.
It's been moved by Evan to deny. Seconded by Jamie. Any public comment pertaining to the motion on the floor?
Any objections or abstentions to the motion on the floor? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, next item on the agenda is a request for remote supervision from Monica Guerrera. Guerra. LMSW. Zoom platform.
This one, I sort of wanted to know from where to where, because I see rural Braithwaite and Plaquemines Parish, but as I was reading it, I wasn't clear because the subsequent thing said travel time of 3 hours with 25 miles with bridges and trains. And I don't know if this includes a route that has frequent trains and lots of bridges. That just sort of seemed odd to me that it takes 3 hours to go 25 miles.
Was round trip, I think.
Round trip, okay,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, this was one where.
Well, look like it, are they saying 25 miles of it is bridges and trains?
I think it's saying 25 miles with bridges.
Yeah,
and
that's
trains.
what I,
They're just saying
That's how I read it.
it's mileage 25, but it takes me longer because of the bridges and trains.
Mhm.
Now, I will say Plaquemines Parish, sometimes you have to even take a Piro to get somewhere, serious, which I've had staff in the past that couldn't believe how long it took them to get just around the parish. Because they had to catch a little boat.
Are you
And-
serious?
Yeah, and paddle, basically. And I thought, wow, this is early 2000s, which I thought,
Yeah.
yeah. But they said they were just really, it was pretty impressionable how long it took to get from
From
one
point A to
area to
point B.
another, yeah. So I think when I read it, I was picturing that, but it does not say specifically from this point to, but she does say 25 miles each way, so I'm okay with approving it unless somebody wants to discuss it further.
25 miles. Where have we been with that before? I can't recall. It's kind of close to, I know an hour for sure we have been
Mhm.
Yeah, I think
approving.
if she's saying it's 3 hours total,
An hour
an
and
hour and
a
a
half.
half each way, which I know 25 miles seems a lot, it could take shorter, but because of Plaquemines Parish,
I would prefer to know from where to where.
Yeah, that was my only issue with it.
Okay, at this time, are y'all still in discussion or do y'all all ready for a motion on this matter?
At the appropriate time, I'd move to deny.
Been moved by Evan to deny. Do we have a second?
I have a second in a minute.
Braithwaite,
Mhm.
How do you spell it?
Braithwaite, I think.
And going to Beacon? Where's Beacon? Okay, Beacon inpatient, I guess in the area about 20.
Oh, that must be the Beacon Behavior Inpatient Hospital, maybe?
Is that near New Orleans?
Well, there is one, but I don't think it's, well, the one I know is not in Plaquemines Parish.
The one that popped up is 58 minutes, 29 miles, but 58 minutes.
Okay.
Cause you gotta go,
Yeah. I do think it's not an easy commute.
mm-mm.
The motion is on the floor to deny. Is there a second? If there's no second, the motion dies. Do we have another motion on the floor to entertain regarding this matter?
I move to approve.
It's been moved by board to approve. Is there a second?
Second,
Second by Jamie. Is there any public comment pertaining to this motion?
There is a hand raised, Carmen Spooner.
Ms. Spooner, you're being recognized.
Good afternoon. I was gonna, I was saying thank you for going ahead and approving her. I don't know this young lady, but Braithwaite is, to get there, it's still a 2-lane highway. They have drawbridges that you have to cross. It's not just like a bridge you cross. There are drawbridges because of all the water down that way. And you're going to Lower Plaquemines Parish, which is not, it's not Baton Rouge, it's not Metairie. The roads is smaller, much smaller, travel. That's why when you pulled it up, it said, yeah, it's just 29 miles, but it's a 50-mile, it's a 50-minute drive. So, thank you for going ahead and considering approving this, this request, because it's a lot.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Spooner. Are there any other public comments pertaining to the motion on the floor?
No.
Any objections or abstentions to the motion? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a request for remote supervision by Sydney Miller. Okay,
So she lives in a different state, but she's working in Louisiana with patients in Louisiana. So motion to approve.
Second.
it's been moved by Jamie to approve this request. Is there a second?
Evan.
Second by
Yeah.
Evan. Sorry about that, I didn't hear it. Sorry. Is there any public comment pertaining to the motion? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a request for distance learning CEs for the 2024-2025 collection period from Connie Smart, LMSW.
There's no change. Right? From the prior request? Or is it just 2 copies of the same thing? Oh, it's 2 copies of the same thing.
Okay, yes.
Yeah,
But then they included in there that there wasn't a change, so that was also kind of,
yeah.
Asked for it in the last collection period. She's asking for it in the new collection period.
Oh,
oh.
did we grant it in the previous one?
Yeah, I'm pretty
Oh.
sure.
It's been moved by Bora to approve this request. Is there a second?
Second,
Second by Jamie. Any public comment pertaining to this motion? Any objections or abstentions?
Object.
Let the record reflect. Melissa objects to the motion on the floor. Any abstentions? Hearing none. Motion carries.
she objected.
Oh, I'm about to do that. I'm
Yeah,
about to do it, y'all.
Did you say motion
You
carried?
said the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm all on so dull. Look, I'm going.
You about some, I
Look,
like to
look,
do it like you.
Look, thank y'all for stopping me. Because I was on the roll. I was gonna say motion carry and then do a roll call. Can you imagine that? Y'all, this clock is just ticking. So we do have an objection by Melissa. Y'all, we gonna need a roll call on this. When I was on the roll, I was gonna motion carry and do a roll call. Y'all bless me today. All right, so now we need the roll call because we have the objection, y'all.
No discussion before roll call, huh?
Well, we didn't already move the motion through, so at this time, we can't
Okay.
discuss. We gotta take the vote,
Okay.
then how it goes and.
Okay.
So the motion was to approve the request. So the vote is about the motion.
Right, so the motion was to approve the request. We have one objection. So at this time, if you're voting yes, you are voting yes to approve the request. Okay, y'all
Jamie
ready?
Barney,
Yes.
Evan Bergeron,
No.
Melissa Haley,
No.
Trudy George, Boris and Sari, yes. Isaac McKee,
Is it, do I need to break a tie? or-
yes, it's a tie,
What's the tie? It's 2-2?
2-2.
No, I need more information.
Okay, so the motion dies.
All right, so now we can open the floor for discussion
On that,
and,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we can open the floor.
I don't know why it was approved before, but maybe they had more information with it before, but just for that reason, I mean, we're subject to we're subject to COVID everywhere we go, grocery store, work, what have you. So I don't understand why this, just doing supervision or that would make a difference, or CEUs make a difference. So maybe it's more information, but it wasn't presented.
Yeah. I see your point, because the reason I voted for it was, well, if we approved it last time, there must have been more information that made us, so I see your point, because I was just
Yeah.
trusting me last time.
I was just basing it on last time and I
Mhm.
thought she must have had enough for us to do it.
So I'm wondering if we do, that's a good point. I'm wondering if we do have any information to support this request? Like, does this licensee have information at this time? Because the ask now is for the 2024-2025 collection period. So do we have any information from her? We could circle back, see if there is information, if she provided anything, we can ask staff. And if y'all would like, I can go through the other ones and then we circle back. What y'all think? As we determine if there's additional information.
Or would you all be willing to say pending receipt of?
Well, people can make whatever motion they want, but my ask is that, do you all want to allow staff the opportunity to look to see if there's some information to
Yes.
support? Because we approved her for the last collection period, did she send anything?
And I actually am open to the last request if they can get that. Or do y'all want only something submitted this time?
So what I thought is when you do it, my interpretation for a collection period as opposed to indefinitely is that each collection period, they would need to demonstrate what the rationale is. And the request was made, but there was no rationale that is acceptable that I saw. Now, if she, presented it with some additional information, it may be clearer.
Okay, so, would that be the pleasure of the board to see if we're able to get information? Or do you all, what is the pleasure of the board for that? Y'all need,
So I want to ask Melissa, are you saying you would prefer her to present it because something could be different from last time?
Correct, because
That we might have information that may not be valid.
yeah, whatever she said
Okay.
then, that was a year ago,
Yeah.
it may be different now.
well, then that might be a different motion then, folks, and if that's a different motion,
Hmm.
then that would lead, but that might be a different motion.
Well, am I clear? It's already been denied, right?
No,
No,
Oh, it has not, we just didn't accept it, so there has been no motion to deny.
correct.
correct.
Okay,
So you could make a motion.
to deny.
And offer
And
a
offer
hearing.
compliance
You
hearing.
can, if that's what you please, choose to
That,
do.
that's what I will
That's
make a
your
motion
decision.
to
That's-
deny and offer a compliance
It's
hearing.
been moved by Melissa to deny and offer a compliance hearing. Is there a second?
Do we do compliance hearings for this kind of thing?
Do we do a compliance hearing? If we deny, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, we do.
Okay.
If you look at the rule for compliance hearings, we're kind of stretching it. So basically, she's asking for this because of a renewal application.
Mhm.
And that's how we're kind of stretching it to allow them to have a compliance hearing. Because the
So-
compliance hearing rule, it's for applications
Right.
that are denied.
Right.
Mhm.
We haven't.
Not request. Is that what you mean?
We haven't denied it. So what about an amendment saying approve pending receipt of? But you want to be the one to review
So
it.
here goes, you can make what motion you want, but right now we have a motion on the floor to deny and offer a compliance hearing.
But it
That's
hasn't
a-
been a second, right?
No, it hasn't been seconded yet, so that's what I'm, so this is where we are, right? But I hear that y'all have discussion, see, that's the thing, so, where are we with that? Is this motion still alive? If there's no second, then it will die, and then we can open the floor for discussion.
Your motion was deny and offer compliance hearing?
Uh-huh.
Second.
All right, so it's been moved by Melissa to deny and offer compliance hearing, seconded by Evan. Is there public comment pertaining to this motion on the floor?
Public comment.
Any objections or abstentions to the motion on the floor? All right, hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is Ryan Averett requesting credit for supervised work experience. We had a public comment earlier today pertaining to this item on the agenda that we were asked to take it in consideration when reviewing this this request, this correspondence.
I don't understand this because what this is saying is that the contract was not like available on the portal, which doesn't make sense to me.
Let me go.
Second paragraph, middle of the second paragraph.
Yeah,
At no point during the first 94 hours of my supervision was I provided with the supervision contract on the Certami licensing portal.
I don't get that.
At no point during the first 94 hours of my supervision was I provided with a supervision contract on the Certainty License Portal. I used to submit documentation and track my progress.
No, you have to initiate the contract. It's not gonna be in the portal.
Yeah, Bax should have,
Yeah,
Yeah, no, the supervisee has to initiate the contract.
right, but if he didn't see one, he should have, his Bax should have been saying, where's the contract? It was-
And I don't see a paper contract attached, so that means, so this person isn't providing evidence that any contract was completed at all.
I just don't understand.
Who is the supervisor? Did they submit any information?
Mark Neighbor.
Okay, so he just
All the-
verified that they did the supervision, but did not give a rationale for the contract not being completed.
The supervisor wrote a letter.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it didn't provide rationale for not, completing the contract.
Sounds like they were waiting for a contract to be sent to him.
I don't understand.
No, I don't think it doesn't seem they were waiting for it. It just seems like they're saying that they shouldn't be held liable in the sense that they don't get credit for these hours they've completed because they didn't provide a contract because one didn't generate in Certami. And they may be thinking that it should generate because after they submitted the completion, that everything was complete, then it alerted the licensing analyst who, after they spoke to them, gave them access to the contract. So they probably think it should just have popped up.
Yeah, I don't get that, so I'll move to deny an offer compliance hearing.
There's a motion on the floor to deny this request and offer a compliance hearing made by Evan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Melissa. Is there any public comment pertaining to the motion on the floor?
Yeah, Ryan Averett has his hand up.
Okay, Ryan, you have the floor. You have 2 minutes.
Hello, I'm not sure how much back and forth is allowed here, but I just wanted to clarify. It was my understanding that to do these contracts, they were supposed to be uploaded onto Certami so that I could complete them, and they had not been uploaded until I had finished 94 hours of supervision. So I didn't have any ability to complete the contracts until then.
Any other public comment you would like to make? You still have time, Ryan.
No, just that I would greatly appreciate the approval of these hours. I've worked very hard over the last 2 years to do the supervision. I understand that this form wasn't completed, but I don't understand how I was supposed to complete it without access to it. That's all. Thank you.
Any other public comment pertaining to this motion on the floor? Any objections or abstentions to the motion? Hearing none, motion carries.
A question.
Uh-huh.
Did we remove the instructions for navigating Certami from the website? Or where is it now?
No. We haven't removed it. It's on the supervision page. So they have to go to the supervision page and click on the applicable supervision contract. And when they click on the supervision contract, it brings it to their CertaMe account.
Okay, so the trainings are still there, yes, okay. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Okay, next item on the agenda is a request credit for supervised work experience by Shelby Moreau, LMSW. E. See the dates, okay, total 42 hours lost.
When did we start using CertaMe? Do you recall?
June of 2021.
So this person started the month before we started using CertaMe, and then everyone was required to get in CertaMe by January 2022?
No, they could do paper until December 31st of 21.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't see any explanation why there was no subsequent contract other than I forgot.
So to your point, Jamie, if you saying, can I talk?
Yeah,
I just.
we haven't made an emotion, so.
To your point, so if the hours that she's asking for doesn't fall within that time frame.
No, it doesn't, not that I'm seeing.
Cause if it was like from May to the next year, then, but these are all 23 and 24.
As I saying, supervision was continued from first contract, but with a different employer? Oh, wait, no, first session. Okay, so they added okay. So she switched jobs in 2023. And in May of 2023, she switched employers, so 2 years after she started, and did not upload the supervision contract until December 2024. So it's those hours from the second contract, which should have been in,
Okay.
yeah. And yeah, so I make a motion to deny.
There's a motion on the floor made by Jamie to deny this request. Is there a second?
Second,
Second by Evan. Is there any public comment pertaining to the motion on the floor?
No public comment, and for point of clarification, I am offering a compliance hearing.
Yes, please.
Standard, right?
Yeah. Is there, any public comment pertaining to the motion on the floor? Any objections or abstention? Hearing none, motion carry. Next item on the agenda is request for credit for supervised work experience from Erica Pusateri, LMSW. Okay.
hmm,
Okay.
Well, Jamie, you asked about supervision. You asked about the directions for inserting me. In line with that, is there any attestation that before a person continues with the contract that they understand the steps? Do they have any attestations? Cause like what she's saying is she put the information in there, so she thought it was good, right? So, but there's no requirement before, that's kind of what baffles me is that how people can document all of this stuff that they're doing, showing that they're doing supervision without having a contract.
Because it's set up in different steps. So the way that the platform is set up, the supervisee goes in and initiates three different, I think it's two or three different documents in the beginning. I haven't done it in a while, so I'm forgetting. But they'll initiate a contract. That contract goes to the supervisor and it also goes to their employer, the bank supervisor and employer. Then they also have to send a request. So it's like sending a request to the email. They send a separate request for the record of supervision. So this person sent the request for the record of supervision to log all the hours, but they never sent the supervision contract.
Got you.
So that's why you're able to log, but it's giving different information. So there's nothing in the record of supervision that's indicating I am agreeing. So you know how our laws say this is what you have to contract to
Right.
in order to start supervision. There's nothing in a record of supervision that gives an impression that you're going into a contract.
Gotcha.
It's just where you're able to document what you're doing, right?
So these instructions that are on Certamy, how long have they been on our website?
I don't remember exactly when they went. I know they weren't there when we first started. I think we added them because there were issues, but it was within some months. I don't,
So within 6 months, would you say they were?
I would,
Yeah, I think they were up within that time
Yeah,
frame of that
'cause people were
transition, 'cause
confused,
people
yeah.
were confused
And when they called, the staff would say, here are the steps, but it's also on the
walk
website. So
through
please
it.
review the videos and
Mhm.
call back if you have more questions or something like that. So
And there's even like a note above the videos.
yeah, that I've seen that note in a
Mhm.
different color, right? Shaded in,
Mhm.
and people seem to be skipping that or not reading it.
Mhm.
So are we still in discussion or are we opening, I'm opening the floor for a motion?
It's just, it's hard to do this, but, I make a motion to deny the request.
And offer a compliance hearing. It's been
Yes.
moved by Jamie to deny and offer a compliance hearing. Is there a second? Second by Bora. Any public comment pertaining to the motion on the floor? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a request from Chris Rubadu, LMSW requesting credit for supervised work experience.
I'm sorry, can I,
Mhm.
say something? With the previous one, with there was an additional note that they terminated prior to the 2 years, so they also need to know they didn't meet the minimum requirement yes.
Oh,
And then no-
Barry?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's down at the bottom.
Mhm. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No worries, that was a good point. Okay, for Chris Rubadu, LMSW requesting credit for supervised work experience. Okay.
Okay, so Chris has sessions. Does Chris have the total number of hours in the session? I just see the sessions, but do we know these are 13 sessions were held weekly each session lasted 1 hour. Okay, so that's 13 hours. Sometimes people have 2-hour sessions. That's why I need to know that. Okay. Where's the statement from Ms. Ginger? Am I missing that?
It's the,
What did I
oh
see
no,
that
that's
at?
not.
I don't
No,
see anything
nothing.
from Ms. Ginger, the backs, but the letter said that Ms. Ginger wanted to submit her statement. Let me see if I'm reading that correct, but I don't see her. Let me see. Oh, Ms. Parsons may want to submit her own statement regarding our supervision hours. I don't see.
But there's an
anything.
email where it says, see, please see attached statement. And I don't see an attached
I don't see it
statement.
either.
Unless that's this scan, the first scan.
Or his
Cause
statement.
the statement on the letterhead is what was attached to the email that's after it.
Okay. I don't see anything from Miss Ginger Parsons.
I don't see something from
Ginger
her.
Parsons.
No, he didn't
If he
submit it.
knew,
Oh, it's
if he had attached
regarding,
it,
okay,
Yeah.
it says regarding my supervision.
Yeah,
if he had attached it, he would have said, see attached.
right. I make a motion to deny the request and offer compliance hearing.
It's been moved by Jamie to deny this request, offer a compliance hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bora. Any public comment pertaining to the motion on the floor? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a request from Nakira Williams.
Is that a separate scan?
Yeah, I don't see it. Let's see.
I don't see it.
We're looking for the scan for Nakira Williams and Emily Williams. Does anybody see that one? Nakira Williams or Emily Williams?
Regina's saying it's a second scan.
Oh, under what
Mm.
one?
Should be correspondence too.
I don't have
We
that.
don't have it under there.
Yes,
Under
it's
applications.
out of order.
After a financial October on mine,
Wait.
above compliance hearing.
I don't have it.
I don't want to see that if I don't.
Here, Jamie, you can have this.
I got it. I see it. I see it now. Got it.
But you don't have, you don't have,
I don't have it, but you know, I also had that extra thing, so mine was I had an extra document thing.
okay, so then you probably don't have,
I don't have none of either of the last two.
I have more papers. Oh,
I
never mind,
found
I
it.
mixed myself up.
Writing to formally request your approval for continuation of virtual clinical supervision as an alternative. Okay. All right. Then I'm scrolling these two, functional behavioral, okay. Mhm.
Why they don't put an address for an agency or a hospital or whatever. They just want us to look it up.
This is the Nakara one.
Mm-hmm.
She said it was 29.3 miles.
Yeah, she gave an address. One address, but.
Oh,
not the
okay,
other
yeah, I see
address.
what you're
I don't
saying.
understand why people don't do that. It's just.
Okay. Any, are we still in discussion on this, y'all, or where are
I'm
we
still
with this
reading.
one? Okay, well, let y'all still read.
Okay, I'm finished.
Are y'all still in discussion? Where are we with this?
So the travel time, which travel time are we talking about?
We said 51 minutes, she's saying.
She
two
gave
different
two different,
locations.
right,
She has two different.
She got two jobs.
Two different jobs.
Okay, she lives in Livingston Parish. And Oceans has locations in Baton Rouge, as well as the lake is in Baton Rouge.
you gotta do it with the supervisor.
Yeah, I don't know.
Understand.
So.
Yeah, I don't have any information about where the supervisor is. This is just what her typical work
Where
commute
she
is, right?
works, right?
Mm-hmm. So
Doesn't have
because
a
that.
supervisor, well, she does have the supervisor's name, but she doesn't say where they're located.
Mhm.
Yeah, so because it doesn't have the information on where the supervisor is in relation to either of the locations of her home or work, I will make a motion to deny.
There's a motion on the floor by Jamie to deny it off of
A
the
complaint.
compliance hearing. Is there a second? Who did second?
I'll
Second
second
by Evan. Any public comment pertaining to the motion?
No.
Any objections or abstentions to the motion? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a request for remote supervision by Emily Williams.
So this is specifically for group.
I didn't get that.
Hmm?
I thought she was asking for all of her supervision to be remote. Based on the commute.
For group supervision. And they're in different, she's in a different city than her supervisor.
Well, what is in Baton Rouge and what is in Monroe?
No. I've seen this letter before. I think it's
Oh, the other people in the
Oh,
group,
the other
that's
people
the
in the
other
group.
group members
I'm
probably.
trying to figure out where she is, because I remember the others would say where they were.
It says my location, Alexandria.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Okay,
okay, oh,
okay.
in parentheses, okay. All right, I'm okay with
Well, what a
this.
supervisor?
She's in
Or
Shreveport.
supervisor in Shreveport, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved by Jamie to approve this request, seconded by Bora. Is there any public comment pertaining to the motion on the floor? Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. So I want to take a scan of the agenda to make sure that we covered everything on the agenda before we close the meeting out for today. Can y'all help me just kind of scan, make sure we covered everything? I think we did. I believe we did. And we tabled.
Jessica Shelton, right?
To the next meeting, to the February meeting,
Yep, that's it.
and that will be a full board. All right, everyone. So at this time, we have, going to adjourn this meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? The time is 4:58 PM.
So move.
Been moved by Evan to
Second.
join the meeting, seconded by Melissa. Thank you all for listening to us. We'll see you all in February.